Right, hello everyone, welcome to PlayStationGL F7 League. This is this evening's pre-season race. From Mexico, I'll be a commentator, Jake Warrior, guiding you through the action over the next 60 minutes of qualifying and the race itself. Before we get started on qualifying, I will quickly run you through the drivers in the F7 League and the teams they'll be racing for. Just to give you an idea, because we don't have a full grid tonight, so just to give you an idea of who's in what team and what you can expect. Started next week with round 1 at Austria. So in the Mercedes we will have Leon Bentley and AMS. In the Ferrari we will have MNT Marvin and Tim Matz. In Red Bull we will have TB230791 and Tomic1234. In the McLaren we'll have Game Freaker and Hulkenberger. For Renault we've got Powdy and TTG Cowboy. At Racing Point we've got Shoaib and Larkin. At Alfa Romeo we've got Larsh and Nick Pine. For Alpha Tauri we've got Frunke and Rowan. For Haas we've got Vapor King and Danny. And for Williams we've got TNR Jonis and TNR Steph. With 3 reserves in the league, including Patuka, who is racing tonight. That's pretty much all the grid there, and we're going to now see a lap on board with Powdy in the Renault. Let's see how he gets on. So yeah, in the F7 League all assists are allowed. Some drivers will be running more assists than others, I'd imagine, but yeah, you're allowed all assists, and it is the second highest tier on the Sunday, with F6 also running, as well as F8 and F9, which run a little earlier at 7 o'clock rather than 8, which is the start time here. So through this technical middle sector, Powdy at the moment, we've got Larsh, who's gone quickest on a 1 mid 114 or 114.5. And what can Powdy do? Got a few of the lap times that have come in. Powdy's laps look pretty neat and tidy. Small walk up into the final corner. Bit of oversteer on exit, but Powdy goes into P2 on a 115.1. What else have we got on a lap? We've got Game Freaker here coming round the final corner. What does Game Freaker do? Game Freaker goes quickest, a 114.0. A very nice lap from Game Freaker. And that's the early benchmark set. 114s, probably maybe into the 13s, probably expecting to be roughly the pole time here, so that should be a very competitive effort from Game Freaker. Let's have a look at Nick Pine then. A few drivers who I've got to be honest, I expected to be in higher divisions than what they are, but I think that just shows the strength in depth of PSGL these days. I mean, 11 tiers, the highest number of tiers we've ever had, and some very, very famous names in F7, the likes of Game Freaker, AMS, Nick Pine, Hulkenberger, Powdy. They've all been around for a very long time. And, well, at times I can remember AMS has certainly been, and Powdy have certainly been in the top league before, so that just shows the strength in depth we've got at the moment, and we should have some very quick races in here. We've got Hulkenberger, who's just gone into 3rd on a 114.5. Still half a second shy of his teammate. It is equal cars in this league. The only performance league that PSGL run is Formula Performance, which is on Tuesday nights. So this is equal performance. But it's important to get a good teammate, because the constructors' battle will be just as closely fought as the drivers. Have we got anyone on the lap? I think Nick Pine's still on a lap, but he's lost the rear end of a car there on the curb, and he may have to abort that lap. Red Bull quickly gets out of the way. Thank you to those tuning in. Pleasure to have you all here tonight. So this is just a pre-season race, but of course it gives us the first indicator of who is going to be right at the sharp end of this league, which I think will be one of the closest out there. So we've got some new faces, some old faces. it's very, very tough to call. Nick Pines is finishing the lap, but he had a little moment on, and he goes, okay, it was invalidated. He would have gone 7th otherwise, but he will have lost some time there anyway. He's going to stay for another lap. I think that could be his 3rd flying lap, so he's wanting to get plenty of running in. But we've got Frunky here on a lap, so let's see what Frunky does. We'll go on board with him here. Of course, this Mexico track will not be on the calendar. It's the reason why we're running it in pre-season, to have a different track to what we'll have in the upcoming calendar. The calendar looks very, very interesting. We've got the likes of 2 new tracks at Hanoi and Zandvoort, along with some very familiar favourites such as Silverstone, Suzuka, and many others. It's a calendar that kind of reflects the calendar we've had in real life. So we start at Austria, and then race at the likes of Silverstone and Hungary, before finishing, I think, in the sort of Asia region, going to USA and Brazil, which of course the real life calendar isn't going to. But it follows a similar pattern. Usually you'd expect to start in Melbourne, but that's not been the case this year. Oh, and Frunky's had a big moment, and thankfully for them, they're just on the entry to the pit lane, so that's quite an easy recovery into the pits for them. TB's also pitting in the other Red Bull. Who is going to be closest starting the lap? We've got Tomic, so I'll follow Tomic round to see what he can do. Oh, didn't realise my sound of my phone was on. Just wanted to get the stream up, just to if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. So we've got Tomic in the Red Bull starting his lap now. It's a very, very long pit straight. You've got plenty of time to spot your braking for the quite tricky turn 1, in the fact that it leads straight into turn 2 and turn 3, so you've got to get all the lines exactly right, otherwise you will lose time. That looked fairly smooth there. Down towards the end of the first sector. That's Tomic's first sector time looking like. He's backed off, I think. Yeah, he's backed off his lap, so this lap won't do anything for him at the moment. And we've got Rowan, who I think is also on a lap, so we'll see what Rowan can do. 28.0, that's a decent first sector. The AlphaTauri driver now going through this very technical middle sector, heading towards what I think is my personal favourite bit of a track, this very, very fast sector 2, where you've got to get where precision is absolutely key to keeping up the speed through these fast apexes. Second sector time will be arriving very shortly, and I will go on board with the AlphaTauri through this very tricky stadium complex. And I think Rowan's might have backed off here. Yeah, Rowan has backed off, so that lap time won't count for anything. Larsh has improved to 1:14.4, Larkin up to 3rd on a 1:14.5. What else have we got on a lap? We've got Tucker in the Renault. Someone who I did watch in one of the evaluation races and looked pretty quick, so let's just see what they can do here. Oh, massive lot of oversteer there, but kept the power down. This is going to be a good lap actually. It's a 1:14.4, which is good enough for second place. So great effort there from the Renault driver. Hulkenberg's got a lot of traffic ahead. I don't think Danny's on a lap. Who have we got on a lap? And just to follow AMS, I would, if I had to guess, it's very difficult to tell at the start of a game, but if I had to guess who I would back to be up there, AMS would definitely be someone I would think would be towards the sharp end. They've been a very competitive racer in the past, so I wouldn't suspect anything less on this game. In that stunning black Mercedes livery. Lock up into turn 1. You see apexes nicely at turn 2 and turn 3. That was very smooth. Of course, the second DRS activation point here. What's the first sector looking like from AMS? It's a 27.9, which is a quarter of a second quicker than it went previously. And this is definitely looking like a solid lap. We've had any other improvements. I think Tim Mats might have improved to a 1:14.6. That puts them up into 6th place. AMS hanging onto the car through the middle sector, but kept the power down, which is the most important thing, and AMS is on an absolute storming lap here, which will see them move quite a lot up the field. And out to the final corner. This has looked a very nice lap from AMS. This is going to go very near to the top. In fact, it's gone right to the top. That's a stunning lap from AMS. First man into the 1:13s, a 1:13.9. That's going to take some beating. Didn't look like there was many problems with that lap at all. I watched Frankie last time we watched Frankie. He had a lot of drama. Hopefully he can put in a lap now. Oh, that's very wide through there. I don't think there's no doubt that lap time's going to be invalidated. So we'll look at Nick Pine instead. Round the middle sector. Oh, I think Nick Pine might have invalidated their lap as well. Who else have we got on a lap? We might have Danny here, so we'll follow Danny round. In the Haas. Yep, Danny's improving a lot on his lap so far. This could go right up near the top, providing they haven't invalidated it anywhere. Tricky stadium complex. Oh, that's surely going to invalidate the lap. Yeah, they're pitted. That ruined the lap, unfortunately. We'll follow Tomic. I don't think anyone else is on the lap at the moment. AMS will be going back to the pits, I would imagine. Let me know if you are watching. Who would you back for the title this season? Early days, of course, but who would you look at on this grid and think, yeah, they're going to be right up there? Like I say, for me, AMS is someone I think will be competitive. I suspect Parody will be very good as well. Game Freak is always someone who tends to be very competitive in the leagues they're in. I mean, there's a lot of names out there I'm not too sure about the pace of. In terms of other drivers, I did watch another driver who's in F7, TNR Steph, in one of the evaluation races, and they were very competitive. So I suspect Steph will be very good as well. And I would also mention Patuka, but they are a reserve, so be uncertain as to how many races they will get to compete in. Fatari for the win in the comments. I believe that's from Frankie, who is the admin for the F7 League. That's for Tomic round on this lap, then has yet to put in a lap time. Small lock up into turn 1, but got away with it. Again, pretty smooth through turns 2 and 3. Bit of support for Tomic in the stream, so keep an eye on this lap for you. It's a 28.0 first sector, which is pretty competitive. It's a 10th shy of what AMS managed, although that could potentially be a little bit of a corner cut there. Looks like they're still going pretty hard for it, so I think they might have got away with that. Oh, it's going very aggressive here in the middle sector. Oh, that looked very nice actually. I was worried they weren't going to be able to keep hold of the car, but they managed it. Into the stadium section once more. A place where there's usually a lot of support for Sergio Perez, IRL. And of course we wish him all the best at the moment in his battle with the coronavirus. Tomic, that was a good lap. And he's moved up into 4th place. A 1:14.3, that was a nice lap that. Who have we got on a lap at the moment who's near the end and look like they could be improving? Who have we got? Larkin's not going for it at the moment. Let's have a look at Tim Matt, someone we haven't had a look at yet in the Ferrari. course, in this pre-season race, I want to keep kind of getting an eye on as many drivers as possible. So this is not someone I've watched yet. A bit of understeer it looked like in that middle sector there. They weren't quite getting the turning that they would want. Yeah, they're a 10th up at the moment. Not massively improving, but we'll see what they can do in this stadium section. Car looks much better suited at low speed, it has to be said. And Tim Matz goes across the line, was 8th, moves up to 7th at 1:14.4. It's very, very tight, as you would expect. Who have we got on a lap now? Larkin's not improving in sector 1. Tomic won't be going out again, so their session's done. 4th will be the absolute best they will be able to manage. They'll have to hope that other drivers behind don't improve. Just trying to see who's improving. Let's go for TB in a Red Bull, another driver I haven't seen yet. Oh, they're clinging onto it for the middle sector, but that looked pretty decent. They're 6 tenths up, going into the final sector. Danny gets well out of the way, so he won't be improving. As TB had an issue, I wonder if his lap time's invalidated. He's still going to the line. He doesn't improve, he stays 11th. He'll have one more lap if he's got A, got the fuel, and B, got the tyres to do it. Let's follow with Frunky now. Again, yet to put a lap time in. The checker flag is out, so you can complete the laps that you're on. Got Frunky round the last few corners. Rowan won't be setting a lap time. What can Frunky manage? It's good enough for 10th on a 1:14.6. As Lars, I didn't catch Lars, but Lars has gone to pole on a 1:13.9. That's a stunning effort. Wonder what Game Freak is up to. Slightly up in the middle sector, currently 4th. They only need to find 1/10 of a second to take pole. Larsh grabbed it at the last, just 0.003 of a second ahead of AMS. What can Game Freaker do? Oh, Game Freaker's stolen it! 1:13.970, that is insanely close. That's an incredibly close lap time. Literally 15,000ths of a second separate the top 3. Tucker's not on a lap, and I think that's pretty much everyone. AMS has just mentioned in the chat that they were up by 2 tenths in the middle sector but made a mistake. So, unfortunate for AMS there, and that small mistakes cost them, in the end, not even on the front row. But it is very, very close, which is exactly what we want to see. And probably what we suspected, in all honesty. And the really exciting thing is we've still got a lot of drivers to see come Austria next Sunday, which, I mean, Austria is usually a close qualifying session anyway, the nature of the track. So it should be very exciting. But congratulations to Game Freaker, he takes pole position for a pre-season race here at Mexico. And based on that qualifying session, it's going to be a very close race, which is exactly what we want. Nick Pine didn't manage to do a lap time, unfortunately, as neither did Rowan. Of course, the advantage for those outside the top 10, they will be able to choose what tyres they want to start on. Of course, good point as well by AMS, is pole an advantage here. The nature of this track and the long run down to turn 1 means, if anything, you're just going to be the target of everybody's slipstream. I mean, we won't be surprised if we're 3-4 abreast going into turn 1, the nature of how this lap starts. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting to see what happens. Danny has also mentioned that he was going purple, but invalidated the lap, unfortunately. So a lot of drivers there potentially not getting the time they wanted. Let's quickly run down the order then. We've got Game Freaker and Larsh on the front row of the grid. AMS and Larkin will make up row 2. Hulkenberg and Tomic in row 3. We've got Patuka and Tim Mats on row 4. Powdy and Frunky complete the top 10. And then outside the top 10 we've got Danny, TB, Nick Pine and Rowan. Less than a tenth separating the top 4 on the grid. That's a sign of just how close this season's going to be. Right, and on to the race. Good to see a lot of the F7 competitors tonight in the chat. Wish you all the best of luck. Hope it's a good fun race. And I'm interested to see what those outside the top 10 do, because this is probably one of the few tracks where a two-stopper is a very viable strategy. The tyres go off quite quickly around here, so we could actually see quite a few drivers going for the 2 stops. And as it turned out today in the real-life Grand Prix, 2 stops is not a bad way to go. Although I don't think we're going to see anything like the blowouts we saw today. Right, let's have a look then to see what tyres everyone has fitted. Yep, so Danny, who starts at 11th, has gone for the soft tyre, but TB, Nick Pine and Rowan have elected to start on the medium tyre, which could give them a bit more variance on strategy. Well, actually, as I've just read in the chat, Danny did not elect to start on softs, but it's put him on softs. So, not what Danny wanted there, but who knows, he might be able to make the best of it. Of course, he'll have fresh softs compared to those ahead of him who will have used softs. So all the best, Danny. Not the ideal start for you, but I suppose one way to look at it is better to happen now than at Austria. It's a good track to do pre-season around. You've obviously got quite a mix. You've got the long straight. You've also got the technical section here in the stadium section, but you also got those long sweeping fast corners through sector 2. So you've got a good mix of corners around here, and it's also a pretty, I won't say easy track to overtake on, but it's an okay track to overtake on. So it's a good combination, I think, for the drivers, and a good warm-up ahead of the season. So drivers lining up on the grid now. Game Freaker on pole, Lars in second. Who is going to get the launch away from the line, and who's going to get the advantage into this very difficult early sequence of corners? Last few drivers lining up now. Right. Five lights. And away we go for the pre-season race here at Mexico. Looks like a pretty good start from the Alfa Romeo of Lars, actually. But Game Freaker covers him across well, and now it's just about ducking into the slipstream. Game Freaker's gone straight to the inside line. But will Lars be able to go around the outside? He's going for it. Game Freaker tries to cover him off. We've got AMS having a look behind, but Game Freaker keeps the lead. Got Lars in second. Larkin's gone up to third ahead of AMS. With Tomic slotted into P5, Game Freaker's got the getaway he wanted, as Larkin looks for a move around the outside of Lars, but Lars boxed him off pretty nicely. And we've got the Renault here of Patuka trying around the outside of Tomic. Tomic locks up! Oh, and that's a massive collision! And that's Patuka that went round. And I think Danny got caught up in that as well in the Haas. Disastrous start for them. But meanwhile, back at the front, Game Freak has already built up a bit of an advantage as AMS gets very close to the back of Larkins, looking down the inside. He gives him room, but Larkin holds on to the position for now. Unfortunate collision at the back there. I think it was a case of Tomic just locking up his tyres and went into Patuka, and Danny really was the unlucky one as he had nowhere to go. And I imagine Patuka and Danny will be into the pits at the end of lap 1. In fact, Tim Matz as well is into the pits, so a few drivers there picking up damage. And what's happened there? There's a severe collision penalty, so did they collide on the way into the pits? I'm not too sure. As the timing gets all skewy. But it's still as you were. Game Freaker leads Lars, leads Larkin, and AMS into 4th place. You've got Tomic there, Powdy in 6th place. What tyres? I'm interested to see what tyres have gone on to. So all the drivers that pitted have gone on to the medium compound tyre. Perhaps not too much of a surprise there. And of course, yeah, 2 stops are recommended here, so let's go on board with AMS, who is looking very quick behind Larkin's Racing Point. In fact, further behind we've got Powdy, who got the run on Tomic out the fast sequence of corners, and Powdy moves up into 5th place. So Tomic drops down a place there. Good move back from Powdy. It looks like he just got the better exit and worked it to his advantage. Meanwhile, at the front, Game Freaker being pegged back a little bit by the Alfa Romeo. But he's not close enough yet without the use of DRS. Oh, and Lars locked up there, going into the corner, nearly went into the back of Game Freaker. Did well actually to avoid him, but that will have cost him some time, as further down the field we've got Hulkenberger and TB battling over 8th. TB holds on to it, pushes Hulkenberger a little bit wide, and TB holds on to 8th for now. That was some fairly aggressive defending, but I don't think there was too much wrong with it. Hulkenberger's still having a look down the inside, but thinks better of it. And this is building a little bit of a train now, with Nick Pine and Rowan also right behind these cars. Oh, and that was a little bit of a look there. I don't know if Nick Pine had a little moment there as they go a little bit wide on the exit. AMS still right behind Larkin. The top 4 have built a few second margins over the chasing pack in these early stages. And it is difficult round here. You don't really want to lose the DRS to the car in front if you can help it, because it really leaves you vulnerable to the cars behind. And I wonder if Lars is going to have a look this time. He goes to the outside against Game Freaker. They've left themselves plenty of room, but looks like Lars has got the room move done and takes the lead. So 1 lap ago he had to take avoiding action to avoid Game Freaker, but this lap he's made an absolutely brilliant overtake stick, and good respect there between the 2 drivers. Top 4 really are right with each other at the moment. It's going to be tough for Powdy to bridge that 2.5 second gap that's already broken out between them. Important thing for Game Freaker now is he needs to stick with the Alfa Romeo. He doesn't want to lose DRS on him. AMS looks like he's threatening to get past Larkin a lot, but just can't seem to make a move stick it for the time being. And now the exit out of this last corner, all important in order to try and make a move down this long straight. Lars has got half a second, that should be enough, but Game Freaker will have DRS and is gaining a lot of time on the Alfa Romeo. Is he going to have a look into turn 1? Oh, he cuts to the inside. That's an incredibly aggressive move, but Lars holds it around the outside. That's superb defending. Game Freaker there, feint to go one way and then jink to the inside, but Lars was having none of it. As Nick Pine and Rowan come into the pits, and Larkin's now trying to get involved at the front. can't help wondering if these four are starting to slow each other down a little bit. As Hulkenberger still just behind TB at the moment. These two embroiled in a good fight over 8th place. And I wonder if Rowan and Nick Pine had to pit because of damage, or if those were scheduled stops. Nick Pine's gone for the hard tyre, Rowan's gone for the medium. So yeah, the top 9 haven't pitted, but all those behind have. And now we go back to the front. See if Game Freaker looks a bit closer this time around, so I think he's going to have a very good chance to take the lead back here. I don't think Alfa Romeo is going to be able to stop him. He's defending to the inside. He's not going to let Game Freaker have the inside on this occasion. Game Freaker's like, okay, I'll have the outside line instead. And he'll make that stick. And and Lars has got to be careful. He tried to get a good exit, but Larkin was poking his nose in there as well. And now we've got Larkin, who's to the outside. AMS has got a great view of this occurring. Larkin has made the move stick, so Lars loses 2 spaces in the space of 1 lap, and Larkin is up to 2nd place. An opportunist move there from the Racing Point. And Game Freaker has the lead back, and the Alfa Romeo's got a lot of work to do. AMS looks like he's got a lot of pace, but not much you can do with it at the moment, as Game Freaker tries desperately to get out of the DRS range of Larkin. Further down the order, Hulkenberger somewhere has made the move stick on TB, so Hulkenberger up into 8th place. And Game Freaker might just have robbed. Yeah, he has robbed, so Larkin will not have DRS to defend against the Alfa Romeo, but the Alfa Romeo is not overly close to him. In fact, AMS is going to be challenging Lars down into turn 1. AMS goes for it down the inside, late braking. And that's a great move from AMS up into 3rd place. So the Alfa Romeo was looking at 1st place a few laps ago, and now he's down to 4th. Got some work to do, but these 4 cars are still very tightly bunched up, and in fact Powdy is closing in on them and dragging Tomic along with him. So it could be very soon be a 6-way fight for the lead. Let's see what AMS can do now against Larkin, because AMS just looks like he has a lot of pace, but hasn't been able to use it as of yet. Of course, we are getting towards the pit stop window for those on 2-stop strategies, which I think will be most of the field. And still Larkin is trying desperately to get DRS off Game Freaker, but Game Freaker is maintaining that 2nd gap at the moment. So there's a yellow sector 2. Nick Pine is out the race as Powdy pits. So Powdy makes a stop at the end of lap 7 to go on to the medium compound tyre, and TB's also in the pits as well. Top 4 still separated by nothing. You can see them all in the same shot. Game Freaker still leads, but Larkin has quietly gone about his business up to now. And of course, with the top 4 being this tightly bunched, it'll be interesting to see what happens in regards to strategy. You imagine you might see 1 or 2 of them in at the end of this lap. Is it worth going for the undercut if you're in 3rd or 4th, or will Game Freaker try to cover them off by pitting first? We shall see. Around the stadium section once more. Game Freaker just looks like he has a little more pace at the moment. And in fact, Game Freaker doesn't pit, but Larkin and AMS have both pitted. And AMS nearly went into the back of Larkin on the way there. But yeah, Game Freaker and Lars have carried on. If it's Lars H, I do apologise. Feel free to let me know. If it's Lars H or Lars, I'll call you whichever one you want to be called. Tomic and Frunky have also pitted for medium tyres, so it's just the top three now that are out on the tyres they started on. And it'll be interesting to see if Larkin and AMS can get the undercut on Game Freaker. With the way the tyres go off around here, Game Freaker could be very vulnerable here. Hulkenberg also not pitted yet. Larkin still is ahead of AMS following the pit stops, so no change of position there. And I'm interested to see Game Freaker responds on this lap, or if he's going to try and lengthen the stint out a bit more. Likelihood is it might be too late to respond pitting now. But we'll see what Game Freaker does. Indeed, Game Freaker is pitting, and I suspect, yep, Lars has followed him in. Is Hulkenberg going to carry on? No, Hulkenberg carries on, so maybe Hulkenberg's going to try a one stop. Who knows? And they both go on to the medium compound tyre. Nick Pine was the only one on hard tyres, but couldn't really make it work for him. And Game Freaker has rejoined in front of AMS, but behind Larkin. So that has really worked out for Larkin. He's now in the provisional lead once Hulk stops. We've also got, well, I think Lars has actually lost out in a way. He's going to come under threat potentially from Powdy and Tomic behind him. So we'll see with Game Freaker here. Can he come back at Larkin in this second stint of the race? He will have one more stop to make, of course, so there is still time for strategy to play a part here. As expected, Hulk is losing a lot of time to Larkin in the cars behind, but he may be thinking of a long game here. Does he pit at the end of lap 10? Yes, he does. So Hulk's going to pit at the end of lap 10, and this will be key. If he goes onto the hards, he may be trying to get to the end, but if he goes on the mediums, then we know he's definitely not going on a one stop. No, Hulk's going on to the mediums, so he will be doing two stops, but what he might be trying to do is potentially running a longer middle stint now on the mediums, so he can use another set of softs come the end of a race. Whereas I think those that have pitted earlier will definitely have to run another medium stint later on. And it's not worked out too badly for Hulkenberg. He's rejoined in 8th. He's got to fend off the AlphaTauri of Rowan, which he has just about managed. And he can now hopefully get on with his race, but AlphaTauri's desperate to get past. Squeezing on the throttle a little too early there in his excitement to make a move, but he's going to have to stick behind now through his next section. Not really any obvious overtaking spots through his next sequence of corners. Good helicopter shot there, that wonderful middle sector, definitely probably the best bit of the track to drive. And Game Freaker is not letting Larkin get away here. It's become a bit of a top three now, because Lars in the Alfa Romeo has dropped off a bit. I think the less these lot have fought with each other, the more it's helped them pull away. But Lars is currently the quickest man on track. He's just done the fastest lap of the race, so he's going to try and come back at them. Game Freaker not close enough to Larkin to look into making a move into turn 1. Might try and set it up onto the next DRS straight if he possibly can, but I don't think he's close enough. We shall see. He's getting closer in the slipstream, but it'll be a brave move here. And Game Freaker, quite sensibly, very experienced racer, thinks better of it. It's AMS. So a penalty, but he's not the first and won't be the last to do so. Tomic, we didn't catch this on stream. Apologies to any Tomic fans in there. I think there's a few out there. But Tomic has moved up into 5th place. He's past Powdy, and he can now try and chase after the top 4. Powdy looks a little uncomfortable at the moment, based on the last few corners I've just seen him do. Maybe not enjoying the medium tyres as much as he was enjoying the softs earlier. And wow, look how close this is. I wonder if Larkin's made a bit of an error during the lap, because Game Freak is closer than he has been for a while. He didn't get the best exit onto the straight though, which might cost him a run at the racing point. Of course, Game Freak has a lot less ERS available to him at the moment, so that could affect his straight line speed, and indeed he just isn't close enough at the moment. And this has got to be frustrating AMS, although having said that, he doesn't have much ERS available to him either. Larkin at the moment is saving more usable energy, and it's really helping him out. Game Freaker thought about a look up the inside, but just wasn't close enough. And Powdy potentially might come under threat from Frunky behind. He needs to get back in the DRS zone Atomic if he possibly can, as he winds through his middle sector. With the dirty air effect on this game, it's very tough to stay close to the car through that sector, because it will push you wide. But right now Game Freaker looks like he has a little bit more pace than Larkin, but he's got to get a better exit from this final corner. And he saved a bit more ERS on this occasion. Is he going to go into overtake mode? No, he's not. So he's not going to overtake at the moment, so he's just biding his time perhaps. He knows his tyres are 1 lap fresher than Larkin's, so he might look to use that to his advantage later on in the stint. Again, he closes up into this corner, but he's just not close enough to attempt to move. But let's go on board with Frunky actually, who is very much all over the back of Powdy, and he's looking at a move into there, but wasn't, again, got quite close enough. But Powdy definitely looks like he's struggling, and Frunky's actually slid it down the inside there. I think Powdy made a little error in the previous corner, and that just gave Frunky a move up the inside, which he took gladly, and Frunky's up into 6th, and Powdy's middle stint struggles continue as he drops to 7th. Just doesn't look happy in this stint of the race. Hulk's also going to be closing him down. He has a lot of ERS available to him, so Hulk's on the charge, and with fresher tyres could be very much a threat as Game Freaker goes into overtake mode. So he is trying to make a move. He's going to run out of ERS, but he's got the inside line on Larkin. Larkin defends. Has he got enough to hold him off? They go side by side through this sequence of corners. That's great racing between the pair of them. And now Larkin's trying to get in DRS to Game Freaker, but Game Freaker has the DRS still, and Larkin, oh! AMS, where did AMS come from? AMS grabbed 2nd place as Larkin himself was looking at grabbing the lead back. And AMS and Larkin still side by side. Surely one of them's going to have to lift off here. Is it going to be Larkin on the outside line? It is, but he's still trying to find a way through. But AMS sticks with it and gets 2nd place, and that might just have given Game Freaker the advantage he was looking for. But I don't know if Larkin was trying to make a move back on Game Freaker or just trying to avoid hitting him. But either way, AMS, unbeknown to him, snuck around the outside and, ever the opportunist, grabbed 2nd place. Great move there from AMS, I have to say, as he pits. So did he pick up damage? Oh, I wonder if AMS picked up damage in all of that. He might have hit the back of him. Yeah, maybe he did make contact with him. It might not have been a great move it looked on first viewing. And he's going to have to go on hards now to the end of the race, which I think will cost him ultimate pace. But the undercut could still work out for him later on. We'll find out. IMS says he got hit. So unlucky for AMS that, but on the hard tyres you still could have a part to play in this race later on. as we've got a good battle here developing as Rowan looks at passing Patuka. Not quite close enough on this occasion. Race a little bit more spread out in this stage of a race. It's unfortunate to lose AMS from that lead battle. Stay with Larkin here. I don't think he's quite close enough at the moment, but he does have more ERS available to him. So I can't see any reason why he won't be able to stick in the DRS zone of Game Freaker. Breaks into first few turns, Game Freaker. Now he's got the lead back, but he just can't seem to pull away from Larkin. As AMS has passed him, that's who has actually come into the pits, I assume, to make a final stop. So he goes out on the hard tyres, that should easily get him to the end of the race. And Larkin once again sticking to Game Freaker through his middle section. Larkin a bit closer on this occasion. He's got a lot of ERS spare. I'm surprised he's not gone into overtake mode. But he might not even need it. He's got such a slipstream advantage on Game Freaker. Heads down the outside, but not quite close enough on this occasion. He's going for the switchback though, because Game Freaker took a very shallow line in, which has affected his exit. And Larkin's going to get the move done as a result. So a well thought out move there from Larkin, and he's back into the lead of this race. And further down the field, Rowan has moved up into 8th place past Patuka. But we'll stick with the battle for the lead, because I think this is far from over. And I do wonder if Lars in the Alfa Romeo behind is starting to come back at this pair. And one thing that's really helping Larkin out here is he's managing his ERS a lot better. But what can Game Freaker do on this occasion? He's got the DRS, but as you can see, he's nearly out of ERS. But that is going to be enough for him to get alongside. Larkin doesn't defend the inside line. What? Yeah. Yeah. About half an hour ago. Apologies about that, we got back in the lead now. So that's Larkin just behind Game Freaker. These two still battling away at the lead with a pretty stable gap to the Alfa Romeo behind. Tomic doing a very good job in 4th place. A couple of seconds ahead of Frankie, and we've got Hulkenberger now in the DRS of Powdy, who continues to struggle in the middle stint of his races. Larkin looks up the inside of Game Freaker, but can't quite make it stick. on this occasion, so Game Freaker holds on to the lead for the time being as Rowan makes his second scheduled stop. He's done 14 laps on that set of mediums. You'd imagine he'll take another set of mediums now to the end of the race. No, he's gone to hards actually, so he doesn't believe he can make the mediums last. So he'll go into a set of hards and hope that'll get him to the end of the race. It's very easy to pick up corner cutting warnings and penalties through that middle sector. You've got to be so precise with your turning points. And definitely, Lars is definitely gaining on the top two now in the Alfa Romeo. Absolutely no doubt about it. So if anything, Larkin needs to get past Game Freaker and look at the overspeed. He tries to cover the inside Game Freaker, but he can't fully cover it. But to be honest, with the overspeed Larkin had, I don't think it really mattered what side Game Freaker defended. Larkin was always going to make that move stick. And Larkin retakes the lead once more. AMS meanwhile, and his comeback after that earlier damage, is closing up to the back of TB for 8th place. In terms of stops made, so yeah, the top 8 have yet to make their second stops. Everyone behind has made 2 stops, but even some near the back will need to stop again, just purely because of the incidents further down the field. We won't be too far away, I don't think, from the second stops. Larkin pitted a lap earlier than Game Freaker last time around. None of them pit this time around. Lars has actually lost the ground he made up, so the gap's back to 2.3 seconds once more. And Game Freaker's going to make the move on Larkin once more down the inside. Once again, I think what Larkin's going to do is try and get the better exit out of this corner in order to attack down this straight, but I don't think he gets DRS. No, Game Freaker gets a second helping of DRS, so I don't think Larkin's going to be able to make a move back, and he isn't. So Game Freaker makes the move stick and is back into the lead. This toing and throwing at the front continues. And Hulkenberger has made the move on Powdy, so Hulkenberg up into 6th place. Thankfully for our sake, our Hulk was able to race tonight. And he's actually doing a very good job at the moment. Of course, he did pit later than everybody else, so the likelihood is he'll have fresher tyres at the end and might be able to make up a few more places. Is Larkin going to pit? No, not this lap. I imagine next lap we'll see at least one of them, if not both of them, in the pits. Let's have a look. They're now done. Yeah, the amount of laps they've done on these tyres now, it will be coming up to the end of a stint as Tomic pits from P4 for the final time, and he'll obviously go on to another set of medium compound tyres, and he'll be able to take those to the end of a race. The question for me is, will he be able to get out in front of AMS? I think this is going to be quite close. AMS, of course, was ahead of him beforehand, but pitted, but had damage to repair and has been on hard tyres. But yeah, AMS is just ahead of Tomic, but you imagine he'll be tough to keep the Red Bull behind on fresher and better tyres. We shall see. Once again, yeah, the majority of penalties are being picked up around this middle sector, and it's easy to see why. As he used a third of the 3 DRS zones here. Very rare to have 3 DRS zones at a track, but this is one of the few that does have that. I imagine Larkin will definitely be in this lap, but will Game Freaker follow? Game Freaker does go in, but Larkin opts to stay out. I imagine that Larkin was planning to pit, but upon seeing Game Freaker pit, has decided to go a lap longer and try and have the fresher tyres at the end of a race. So Bit of tactics going on there. So Game Freaker pits the earlier of the two this time after pitting the later of the two on the first stop. It's just Larkin, Frunky and Hulk that have stayed out. AMS, where's AMS in relation to... And it's comfortably behind Lars at the moment, so yeah, that has affected AMS and he will have trouble to keep Tomic behind him now. But he'll be encouraged by the pace he showed. Just an unfortunate incident. Larkin will definitely be at the end of this lap. I don't think he'll be able to take those medium tyres any longer. He'll be trying to push as much as he can, but it's going to be difficult for him to overcut Game Freaker. You can tell he's giving it everything, and Rowan has in fact just been disqualified from the session for receiving multiple penalties, so that's a real shame for the AlphaTauri driver. But Rowan is out of the race. I assume that's multiple corner cut penalties. It's a learning curve. Like I say, it's better to have experienced it now at the pre-season race than at Austria. So, no. Yeah, I'm undoubtedly be frustrated, but got to take the positives and move forward. Larkin didn't stop on that lap, surprisingly. Hulk has stopped, and he'll be aiming to get ahead of Powdy, who he was ahead of before the pit stops. We'll see the McLaren emerge. It's going to be very tight. Powdy, I think Hulk's just got it. Yeah, Hulk's kept that 7th place very importantly ahead of Powdy. So that's worked out very nicely for Hulk, and he can try and chase after the cars in front, although there is quite a gap to those ahead of him. Larkin's playing a risky game here. I don't know what his pace has been like in the last few laps, but... Well, the fact he's continuing on for another lap suggests to me he's going to try and run softs at the end. But if he's not careful, he'll fall behind Lars as well. And that could cost him ultimately. The soft tyres are quicker, but they do go off very, very quickly. But yeah, he's trying something different, and you've got to credit him for that. Frunky makes his second stop. Now, is he going to go onto the soft tyres? That's the... Yeah, that is a soft tyre. I thought it looked like the hard tyre initially. I was a bit confused. No, that is a soft tyre that Frunky's gone onto, and he will be in full attack mode come the end of the race. Will he rejoin ahead of Hulkenberg? Hulkenberger, no he won't. Hulkenberger has jumped him in the pit stops, and Powdy could be about to follow suit as well. So although Frunky will be on the very fast soft tyres, he's got a lot of overtaking to do. Some of which he might be able to do straight away, but he opts out of that one. I think that gap that Powdy was always going to shut in his face, so he thought better of it. And in fact, Frunky's got to watch out for the other Renault behind him of Patuka. This is probably not where you want to be when you just come out on brand new soft tyres. And Larkin now pits, makes his final stop. And he is going onto the soft tyres, as I suspected. He will be behind Game Freaker, there is no doubt. But the question for me is he going to be ahead of the Alfa Romeo? No, he's not, so he's going to have to overtake Lars as well, but he is ahead of AMS and Tomic, so that's crucial for him. He rejoins in third, but he will have soft tyres to try and attack with. It's going to be a very interesting end to this race. Just a comment from Callum saying I beat the pole time and I'm in F8. Well, keep proving yourself and you'll move up the tiers. It's pretty simple. Larkin straight onto the back of Lars. I don't think there's much the Alfa Romeo is going to be able to do to defend it. Larkin picks up another penalty, very easily done around here. I'll be very impressed if there's anyone on the grid that's avoided a penalty. But yeah, this will actually, I think, be quite a simple move for Larkin with a superior tyre. I think he's going to be a sitting duck on the straight. There's not much Lars will be able to do to defend this. He's already alongside. The DRS isn't even open yet. So yeah, that's a very comfortable move for Larkin, and he takes second place. And he can now try and chase after Game Freaker. Lars thought about a move back, but I think he knows on the medium tyre he doesn't stand much of a chance. And question for Larkin is, can he get past Game Freaker before the best of those soft tyres go? Tomic is past AMS, but AMS is trying to fight back. Oh, and he's going down the inside AMS. There's a bit of contact between him and Tomic. Tomic maintains 4th place. For now, AMS has put up a good fight on those hard tyres, it has to be said. But it looks like Tomic has got the move done and is up into 4th place. A good race this from Tomic. He's had solid pace, if not quite on the front runner's pace. Frankie is definitely one to look out for. Frankie's already jumped the cars that he was involved with, Uncle Hulk and Powdy, on those quicker tyres, so Frankie's going to be very threatening to the likes of AMS and Tomic, I think, in the latter stages of this race, as Larkin does the fastest lap at 1:15. Those soft tyres have such an advantage. And Larkin's already in the DRS zone of Game Freaker. That call to go on soft tyres in the last stint might just have won Larkin this race. Game Freaker locks up, he'll undoubtedly be feeling the pressure. It might be a pre-season race, but all these drivers are set up to win. They don't care what it is. Pre-season race, I don't know, game of table tennis, they'll want to win. It's a competitive edge that drives all of these people on. And it'll send out a psychological statement, I think, to the rest of the field. If you win the pre-season race, everyone else in the paddock will know you're the one to beat going into the opening race. So there's a lot at stake here for these two. Game Freaker wouldn't want to give this up without a fight, but truth be told, with the ERS that Larkin has, I don't think he's going to have much of a defence. Nope, he goes to the inside, but Larkin's just comfortably past him. Out-drags him down the main straight, and Larkin takes the lead. And now the question is, how much of a gap can he pull before inevitably those soft tyres start to lose pace? And AMS is still fighting to and fro with Tomic. And AMS has got 4th place back. But Tomic will have a better run out of here. Does he have the DRS open? He does. AMS defends the inside. Tomic isn't quite close enough to send it. AMS still shows quite a defensive line into the corner. It does affect his exit, but there's nowhere really that Tomic can take advantage of that. So AMS holds on to 4th, and you've got to say it's a valiant effort from him. But they might want to look out behind them, because all this is doing is allowing Frankie on the softs to close in. Hulk's kind of stabilised in 7th. I thought he might have a bit more of a part to play in the latter stages of this race, but it hasn't really worked out that way. And Tomic will once again have a run on AMS, and he's that close that I don't see much of a outcome here other than Tomic making the move. Now he's got the overspeed, nothing really AMS can do. Tomic's got the position back into 4th place, but as we've seen, AMS will come back at him. He's done 14 laps on those hard tyres now, compared to Tomic, who's only done 7 on his mediums. In terms of positions gained from the start, we've got Larkin up 3. Game Freaker and Lars have dropped down 1 each after both starting on the front row. Tomic's gained 2. The most impressive is definitely Frunky, who's gained 4 places from his starting position. And Tim Matz has dropped the most, dropping 3 down to 11th. As you can see, Larkin's already gained 3.5 seconds on Game Freaker up the front. So I don't think Game Freaker's going to have much of an answer here. It'll of course come down to penalties at the end as to the actual finishing result. AMS still has DRS and Tomic ahead of him. Can he make a move into the first corner? Doesn't look like he's close enough, but he might chance his arm down the inside. He doesn't. Oh, he nearly hits the back of Tomic, such was the superior exit he had. Don't know if he'll pick up any damage from that, but he goes to the outside against the Red Bull. Which means he'll now have the inside for the following corner. Tomic tries to hang it around the outside, that's technically not the track. And AMS has managed to sneak back past into 4th place. But this has allowed, as I suspected, Frunky to close right in to this battle. So it's going to be a 3-way fight for 4th place, all of them on different tyres. So it's an intriguing one at that. Frunky should be the quickest out of 3, but he's got to get past them both. Massive credit to Larkin there. He didn't panic when Game Freaker pitted earlier than him. He just stuck it out on the mediums, and on the soft tyres, he's absolutely walked away with it at front. Game Freaker, in fact, might just need to keep his wits about him, because Lars is only a few seconds behind him, as Tomic once again has a run on AMS. I think he's got the move done, but AMS will break late. Tomic goes right round the outside, as AMS and Frunky now go side by side in the background. Frunky goes a little bit wide. They're still side by side. AMS now might have to forget about Tomic and worry about Frunky. Frunky locks up going into the corner, but Frunky is into 5th place. And TB has been disqualified from the session. Now, is that another corner cutting? There's a lot of corner cutting penalties there for TB and Rowan, and they've both unfortunately been disqualified from the race. Great action there between the 3 of them. AMS, got to give him credit, he's fought those positions valiantly, but ultimately that damage earlier on might have cost him a shot at potentially, I think, even a win tonight. But he'll be pleased with the battling qualities that he showed throughout. Question is, can Frunky now mount an attack on Tomic in these last 3 laps? The soft tyres will be starting to wear out a little bit. You can see even at front that Larkin isn't gaining what he was over Game Freaker, although the 5.7 seconds he has gained I think is more than enough. Frunky though right behind Tomic, he's going to have DRS here. Up towards turn 4. Goes to the outside, he'll have the inside line for the next corner. Surely there's nothing that Tomic can do. He gets squeezed out of room a little bit. He's trying to hang it round the outside, but there's just nowhere for him to go, and Frunky's made a very, very good overtake, and AMS isn't finished yet either. He tries to follow Frunky through, but Tomic shuts the door on him. I think this battle is far from done. AMS, although he's on much more worn hard tyres, they might not be too bad in terms of actual wear, because the hard tyres will last a long time around here. He's certainly not giving up. Tomic has got DRS, but so has AMS. AMS not quite close enough to have a go. Tomic's actually coming back at Frunky. Is he going to go for the move? He thinks better of it. Funky maintains 4th place for now. These three have dropped 12 seconds behind Lars in 3rd place. Larkin's absolutely cruising at the front. He's about to start his final lap. We're going to keep our eyes very much on this battle for 4th place. Tomic is staying right there with Frankie, so I don't think Frankie's got this settled, but Tomic made a massive mistake around there, got too much oversteer on the curb, and AMS has actually overtaken him, and now this has become very much a battle for 5th place because Frankie's got the gap that he needed. A mistake from Tomic has cost him a chance at 4th, and now means he has to attack AMS to get that 5th place back. He's got the overspeed into turn 1, there's nothing really AMS can do. Although Tomic has just got a penalty there. Oh, and AMS nearly hits the back of Tomic. I wonder if Tomic's losing his tyres. How long has he been on them for? I mean, 12 laps is not that bad, but he just doesn't seem to have the pace anymore. It's going to be difficult for anyone to overtake through here, but if Tomic makes another mistake, AMS will be first one to pounce. We're going to go back to the front now because the fireworks are going off in the crowd. Larkin goes round the final corner. It's been a fantastic performance from him. Absolutely nailed the strategy, spot on. We're going for the softs at the end, and Larkin goes across the line to win the pre-season race in F7 here at Mexico. Game Freaker comes across the line in 2nd place. Lars comes through in 3rd. What's going on further back here? Looks like Frankie is going to hold off the challenge of Tomic and AMS. Who's going to get it on penalties? It goes to Tomic in 4th. A Hulk? Never mind that. Hulk has gone up to 4th. And Powdy's 5th. Powdy's 5th. Tomic is 6th. Frankie 7th. AMS 8th. Patuka is 9th. And Tim Mats will come through in 10th place. With Danny a lap down, unfortunately. Well, fair play to Hulk and Powdy. They kept it good on the corner cutting penalties, and that's ultimately jumped them up to 4th and 5th respectively. But my driver of the day has to be Larkin. I know it's always easy to go for the winner, but what can I say? He nailed the strategy spot on. We're going for the softs towards the end. He didn't panic and got the overtakes done on the softs quite simply, and then drove away. Just a masterful performance, and I think based on that a lot of people should be worried about Larkin ahead of his F7 season, because he looks like he'll be right at the front of the field. Game Freaker and Lars also showed that they are going to be very competitive as well, and we had some great fights throughout the field. Yeah, nobody avoided penalties, but massive credit to Hulk and Powder. They only got 1 penalty each, so that's worked out brilliantly in their favour in the end. Larkin got fastest lap by some considerable margin. And when you consider that Frankie was also on the softs, he was 1.5 seconds quicker, so Larkin looks a real genuine threat. Unfortunately for Rowan and Nick Pine, they had too many corner cutting penalties in the end. Although Nick Pine only had 2, so that's quite confusing. Let's have a look here, see what it said in regards to the disqualifications, see if I can find out. Oh, Nick Pine, no, Nick Pine had terminal damage, of course, yeah, he wasn't disqualified. Yeah, so Rowan was... Oh, it's going to take a while to find it. Yeah, I think they must have both got disqualified for excessive corner cutting warnings, unfortunately. But like I say, it's what pre-season's all about. It's about ironing out the bumps and making sure you're prepared for the season ahead. I hope to all those that tuned in, you enjoyed this pre-season race. Congratulations to Larkin, Game Freaker and Lars. Top 3 there. And I look forward to seeing you all for the opening race of the season at Austria. That'll be next Sunday, same time, 8 o'clock. Join me again for PSGL F7. And be sure to check out all the PlayStation GL leagues across the week as well. I've been Jake, and I will see you again next week. Goodbye.